Namaste. Welcome to Smriti. Raghuram Garu. We are doing the Yoga Yajna in the topic of Yoga and Vedanta, beautifully explaining the origin of yoga right from Vedas. It has been, you have spoken in past episodes. You've already explained what Vedanta is, and you have really kneaded both of them together very well. In today's discussion and learning for me and for our Smriti viewers, I had a question: yoga in present days, how are we practicing? If there are any discrepancies, how it should be done ideally. If you can shed some light on that, that would be great. Raghuram Garu, thank you. Welcome back again.
Thank you. Yeah. Uh, when the first man who brought the ideas of yoga to the West, crossing the Indian shores,
Yeah.
apart from it happened to the East, several years ago, that was by the Buddhism who has taken the ideas of yoga to the East. And that means to say it went to China, China to Japan, to Indonesia, etc., all those places it went. They took these practices as practices of prana. There is a reason for that. The reason is that the way that Patanjali looked at originally, he did not look at yoga as something physical. He very clearly divided that a human being is nothing but energy or activity. And these are the two-pronged direct activities. One is directed outwardly and the other is directed inwardly. Outwardly is like my hands move, legs move, I talk, I see, and all those things. This is outwardly. And the inwardly is I think, I memorize, I recollect, and all that. This is inwardly. Outwardly, he call it as prana. Inwardly, he call it as chitta. So therefore, Patanjali's idea was only prana and chitta. He has nothing to do with the asanas. And reference of asana, Patanjali gives only by saying that you relax, keep the body relaxed, sit in a relaxed position or be in a relaxed way so that the body does not bother you. So this is what body does not bother you. Sthira Sukham Asanam. In fact, a very clear definition that he has given. And then from that, then once you sit down there, then you manage your inner life force so that you can cross that aspect of it is the way that Patanjali put it. Prana is the idea. Now from Patanjali, when it went to the East, all that went in the form of prana practices, not as asanas. Prana in Pali is also known as chi or ki.
Yeah.
So therefore, these practices of yoga went to the East in the form of ki practices. Therefore, they have Tai Chi, Falun Chi, Reiki. All these practices are nothing but yoga practices, nothing but the prana movement activities and all that. It went to the East in the form of ki practices. Whereas when people went to the West, they took it as a physical practices. But then before even those people took to the West, the first person who introduced yoga to the West is Vivekananda. It's at the Parliament of World Religions. There he very clearly gave all the different classical ideas of yoga, Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. And there are also some here and there indication that he also taught some asanas as a necessary kind of a support for the idea that he was giving. But his main focus was giving the talks and giving the seminars, giving the workshops that he was doing. But then what happened is that after Vivekananda, several people, West people, that they came to India and they took the practices of yoga. You know, Europe, there's so much of physical power. In fact, their whole sports is nothing but who has got the bigger power, greater power and all that. So therefore, they took it as yoga as very physical practices. So that's how it went as a physical yoga all the way to the West. And from there it went to America. By the time it came to America, it became absolutely physical. And it almost like it was replacing uh, the exercise that they were doing, physical exercise that they were doing. So therefore, this was like a physical exercise replacement. In fact, one of the books I came across in the West is he has written that yoga was the earliest form of physical exercise man has adapted.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked because that was never stated in our Indian text, but that was the way it has taken up.
Right.
And then when people started doing it, then what happened is the more strong physical exercise, more complicated, complex kind of structure, greater yogi. So this is how it has spread. Now, when you go to the physical exercise, then originally there were, let me give you originally the idea of what is that yogasana, where is it coming from? So that I can, then it can make sense to it. As I said, Patanjali did not mention about asanas, physical postures. And what happened was in the areas of hill regions like Nepal and Gorakhpur and all that area, people had to negotiate the hill region. Therefore, what used to happen is that they had two problems in the hill region. One is that they always used to have some back problems, joint problems, because that all the hills, Himalayan, that they had to
Right.
negotiate. Second thing is they used to have very often stomach upset because the food that you get in the Himalayas, that was not kind of a food that normally one could digest. So therefore, these two problems. So local people, local yogis, they had they had developed certain postures, certain ideas to see that how they could overcome that. So there was one set of people called as Natha Parampara, and our present day UP Chief Minister, that Adityanath, is also from that Natha Parampara. Today, for that Natha Parampara, he is the head of that organization that way, otherwise in the traditional sense. But this Natha Parampara, they had all these methods of practices of physical exercise and some breathing and some kriyas, which would help them in the form of taking care of these aspects of the physical body. Later on, there was one person by name Swatma Rama. He listed all those things in the form of a book called as Hatha Yoga Pratigna. There he listed all those something like about 64 asanas or 84 asanas that are there. Now what happened, this 84 asanas that were there written, they could make some variations here and there and all that. So by making various variations and also combination of several postures, went on multiplying. Today, that in the books, some of the books, that there are about 550 asanas that are there. So originally they were not there. Even originally, Patanjali did not mean about asanas, but Swatmaram also meant about only 64 or 84 asanas that were there. But the permutations and combinations, particularly if you look at B.K.S. Iyengar book, there are about 500 and some odd kind of an asanas that are there. So now 508 asanas, if you are supposed to do it, I mean, your one's lifetime is not sufficient. So therefore, what happened is the people that they started picking up a few asanas and making them in the form of a garland, putting them together, and then they started developing their own school. Like for example, somebody put so many asanas together and then he called it as Vinyasa Yoga. Somebody put few things and called as Kriya Yoga. Somebody put something and is called as the Hot Yoga. Somebody called it Hatha Yoga. So like that, there were so many schools which have come up. But the most of the schools focused on the physical postures, selected physical postures. And then because naturally they have to market, therefore that they said that these are the absolutely selected postures, you must do it, and this is like a panacea for life. So that's how today you go into the market, that there are so many different schools of yoga giving different schools of yoga practices. Patanjali himself, when it went to the meditation aspect of it, he gave us an idea of Kriya Yoga. And Patanjali's idea of Kriya Yoga is very lucid and very clear. He said that meditation is where you are sitting quiet and withdrawing from the doing. aspect of it. So the doing is karma, whereas kriya is what is happening. A very simple example for that is you take the food and put it in the mouth. You select the right kind of food, right amount of food, and then you inside that you munch and all those things. Until that time, it is what you are doing. Once you gulp the food down the throat, then the food is doing so much of an activity, but then it's not that you are doing it. That's why we call these two words. One is called as karma, what you do it, and once you gulp it, what goes on is kriya, vachana kriya. So kriya means basically you are not doing it, it's happening. And how much of an activity happening you are taking food is very small little aspect of it, but that food is being broken into cells and then extracted out of that. What is the thing? What is the waste has to be thrown out? So it's like a huge factory that's going on inside. So kriya is such an extraordinary thing that's going on. What Patanjali suggested is that can you make even this outer activities which you think that you are doing it can be like a kriyas. So converting the whole thing into kriya, you are deburdened, unburdened. You are not part of the doing. A very simple example for that, if you are walking, just think of it that you have legs and the leg have capacity to walk, leg have enough energy to walk, and then legs are walking you. You are like somebody sitting behind, like in a chauffeur-driven car. You are not doing anything. It's a psychological posture, we take it. So Kriya Yoga is basically trying to make you as a witness and then activities going on so that you are freed from the burden of karma and then you are doing Kriya. Therefore, we called it as Kriya Yoga. But later on, people borrowed this name and then they said, there are Kriya Yoga centers that are there, Kriya Yoga practices are there. So now you can see proliferation of various yoga centers giving all these things. Fine. I have absolutely no objection. They can multiply, they can give all those things. But because that we call it as yoga, that we should not miss the purpose, goal of yoga. That's what is the peace of mind. So therefore, I have no reservation which yoga practice that you give, which school that you belong to, as long as that you are going towards a spiritual journey. This is what basically the way that we need to understand. So, but unfortunately, as I said, that for the marketing tricks and people can easily be gullible to be taken to be like, these are all something which is very mystical. Therefore, they say that it's very secret technique that I'm giving. No, don't disclose to anybody, don't talk to anybody, don't tell anybody. This is exactly what you need to do. So a mystery is shrouded around that, and then the practices are given like that. In the science that we don't have any mystic aspect of it. Physics is physics, chemistry is chemistry, Boyle's law is Boyle's law. If you take it anything, they're all there like that. Why not to make yoga also that way? I should not have any reservation if you are following some technique of yoga. It's helping you. So this is what the Shastra say, that there are hundreds of techniques that are there. If they're helping people, why should we come in the way? This was the original attitude that was there. I wish that we go back into that kind of an attitude in the yoga in the modern times. Now, what happens is that why we have so many different techniques? Because people, nature are so many different by nature. Some people are very strong at the physical level. They need to do some physical activity. Some people are very gentle and soft and sensitive. They don't do all these things. They have to do pranayama. Some people, sometimes that they are agitated. Sometimes they're peaceful. So the practices when they're agitated are different. Practices when they're peaceful are different. So like that, we have so many different techniques to see that we can be benefited by those things. So that's why we have all these different techniques today in the market. And somebody, he came from Calcutta, and Calcutta is basically a very humid place. You just go in Calcutta, you will be sweating all the time, particularly in the lower parts of Calcutta, because that they are close to the ocean, we sweat a lot. And then somebody comes to USA and try to give yoga. He was not sweating. So therefore he said, okay, let me create a studio with such high temperature and then high humidity, so that whether you want it or not, you will definitely sweat. He was very happy because he was very, very homely, but then that technique of yoga has become very popular. So all these things are like that because basically just for the sake of marketing it has come. Whatever that you might do, physical body has its own limitations. That means the body lives for 80, 100 years or 110 years, whatever it is. However much that you polish, you take care of it, and however much that you do all kinds of things, that it stays for such a long time, as much as it's supposed to stay. There are some yogis who live for short time, some yogis who lived for longer period of time. Huh. There is one thing that we can assure is that if you are regularly, routinely practicing yoga, even at physical level, one thing is that you can be free from ailments in the body. Therefore, basically, the quality of life can be assured. So for that if you are given yoga, that is fine. But there is another important aspect is that the body, physical body, has three important components in that, according to our scriptures only. The first component, we call it as Annamaya Kosha. That means it's made out of Anna, or the food. So therefore, first thing I need to take care of is right kind of food. So therefore, food becomes very important aspect of it. What is the right kind of food is? A very simple yardstick for that is, the right kind of food is that food which gives you freedom from the body level. Like hunger is the way that you are attracted by the body. You are caught up in the body. You can't think of anything else. Your mind cannot work, cannot sleep. Therefore, I give food to the body so that now body leaves me alone. I can go to sleep. I can do some other work. So the essential idea of Raja Yoga, food, right kind of food, is that food which gives you freedom from the body. And this is what Shastras say, Annamayam Atmanam Upasankramati. I have identified myself today, Annamaya, and I need to be free from that. Atmanam, that is me, Upasankramati, I rise above that level. The second thing is, when we have the body, when God has given us the body, He wanted us to do activity. For that, this body is given. And earlier days, people used to do all that kind of an activity. Look at their lifestyle at that time. People used to walk for miles together, used to do so heavy work, lift heavy substances and all those things. Muscles were active, joints were active, everything was active. So they were very healthy at that point of time. Slowly technology developed. We have come out of all those activities. We don't do any activities. Unfortunately, we thought easy life is better than doing all those activities. So we chose the easy life, but in the process that we lost the activities given to the body. Just remember, your grandmother's period of time, great grandmother's period of time, in our period of time, like that. We used to make the, wheat flour. There used to be two stone platens in the central hole, and then lady used to rotate that.
Yeah.
Just imagine that stone platen with one hand, you cannot move it. And you put the grain in that, and then you grind the grain. Wow, what an amount of exercise for the house lady that he used to do. And there's not one day, day after day after day, they used to do it. So such a physical activity was there. Because of that activity, their wrists were very strong. The hands used to be very, probably that is one of the reasons why those days men were afraid of women. That was another reason anyway. But more important thing is that look at the way slowly we are given up. And today, you don't have to do that. That flour is available. Not only flour, that is a mixed flour, batter is available. Chapati is also available in the market. Given a chance, I think they come up with the next one, that is, a chewed chapati will be ready. You don't even have to do that. Physical activity is gone. When the physical activity is gone, naturally people become victims of these various ailments due to the physical activity, lack of physical activity. Now, many times what happened is this yoga has come like a panacea for them because they practice yoga like physical exercise. So they replace the physical exercise with the help of yoga. That's why most of the yoga schools, they have even the board saying that it is yoga and physical exercise center. It's like a gym. It is like that they have given. This is how yoga has been spread. It's good because that at least that they do that kind of an exercise. But in the process, the real purpose for which that yogasana has to be done, that is missed. What is that? Yogasana or practice of yoga is supposed to give you relaxation, sthira sukha asana. And that sukha relaxation should be to such a deeper degree that even the sleep, 6 hours of good sleep, can only give about 8% of reduction in the stress level, whereas the practice of yoga for 1 hour will give almost like 25% reduction in the stress level. And that we are missing. Relaxation component is missing. Therefore, once that deep relaxation is there, it will help you to go to subtler and deeper levels. So that is the reason why we need to get back to that idea. Exercise that is necessary for the body, right kind of food is necessary for the body. So what happened as such, when you go back to the earlier idea that I have given, that Hatha Yoga Pradipika was supposed to, is a suggestion given to the people to see that physically they are maintained so that they can go for Raja Yoga. A number of places Hatha Yoga book text itself maintains, says that I'm not giving this as an independent text, I'm giving this as a support for the Raja Yoga of Patanjali. This is the idea that is here. But unfortunately, the people did not get into all these details. They made Raja Yoga is separate and Hatha Yoga is separate. And then Hatha Yoga slowly, it got transformed into Hot Yoga. So all these things that are just basically the diversion that has taken place. Anyway, let's not worry about it. The idea is to see that we get back to the practice of asanas, such a way that yoga postures will give you deep relaxation, which will help you in Raja Yoga so that you can go from asana to pranayama, next level, and then pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. That journey can be continued. So that is why we need to, in fact, earlier what is necessary is that, yes, now presently yoga is spread all over the world. All over the world. If you take a pyramidal model, the base is a large base, but then you come up, then it becomes narrower and narrower. So large number of people do all kinds of yoga, fine in the name of yoga. But then some intellectuals, when they see that there is something like this available, then they go to the next level, they go to a higher level. When they go to higher level, they understand these things, they go to the philosophy, so that ultimately a few people are the people who can reach the highest goal. That's what is samadhi. That is the right way of understanding about yoga. Today, that's what we have in the market.
Beautifully explained, Raghuram Garu. Thank you again. And we shall continue with more topics. Thank you all for visiting us. Do visit back again. Raghuram Garu has more information. He's all with us, taking us on a yoga journey. Thank you, Andy. Namaste.
Lovely. Namaste.